and welcome to Knitting with Betty. I am Betty and you are in the Pink Palace, that is my bedroom. Today I'm going to talk to you about my fabulous trip to Jersey, which was very enjoyable, and some of the knits that I've been getting on with in the meantime. As you can tell, my very first finished knit is the gorgeous Imitation game cardigan. I managed to complete this in time for going to Jersey because I knew I wanted to wear it there. And so I did, on the first day we went to the Jersey wall tunnels, and I did sort of an impromptu sort of photo shoot there, and so that was really good fun to try and get in situ. But yeah, so let me just try and show it to you. Ta-da! And this is the back. Hopefully you can see some of the detail at the back there. A bit difficult, but hopefully the photos will show it a bit more in detail. But I absolutely love this knit. I know I'm going to get so much wear out of it. Unfortunately, I haven't had much wear out of it yet because it's been unseasonably warm here in the UK, so I've been in summer dresses. But I did wear this to the Jersey wall tunnels because it's incredibly cold down in the tunnels, so you need to take something warm with you to go down there, and this was just perfect. But I absolutely love this. I just think it's just so fabulous, and like you have to pair it with something quite plain, so I've just got a plain sort of creamy shirt and some brown slacks, but that just goes so well with it. I just know I'm going to get so much wear out of it, and it's lovely and warm, so it'll be great in the winter. I got some little buttons here from a local haberdashery. So the only thing about these buttons is they are a bit small, so they kind of pop open a bit if I'm not careful. So I might have to get slightly bigger buttons so that they don't pop open if I move around. But they're just like little wooden ones. I think they're wooden. They might be plastic, but they went perfectly with the outfit. So got those, and then on the inside where my steek is, I chose to go for a contrast colour. I didn't like the brown ribbons that were at the shop. Let me try and show you this one. It might be better. Everything's back to front with this damn camera. So I didn't like the brown ribbons that were there. There wasn't a green that matched, or a rusty colour, so I went for this sort of contrast colour and a nice bright burgundy to sort of make a little feature of it. And that's something Susan does. She puts like colourful or patterned ribbons on the inside of her cardigans, which I think is a really nice touch, because you probably don't see it that often, but you know, if it accidentally blows open, then you've got a nice little little pop of colour there. So I've done this. I've sewn the steek that was all around the front and the front neck, but I haven't got as far. I've got more ribbon to do the arms and the side seams of the sleeves, so I can do that if I want to in the future. But actually, it's not actually that bulky. It's not giving me any problems, so I might just leave them because I'm quite lazy. And obviously, like, once we finished it, we just want to get on to the next one, right? But yeah, I absolutely love it. And these are like colours that I probably would never have chosen for myself. So it's nice that actually they are kind of my colours, because we've got the sort of coppery colour in the X that kind of matches my hair. And the green, I absolutely love this green. I actually have a beautiful evening dress that's in this green, but it's a satin, and actually I'll get it out to show you because it's so pretty. Beautiful satin green. I used to wear this a lot when I was younger and used to go out. Obviously I'm old and don't go out that much anymore, but yeah, so green is a colour that I can wear. I went through my knits last year actually, at the end of the year or beginning of this year, and I have a lot of green knits unknowingly. So yeah, I think green is my colour. I'm just in denial about it. But anyway, back to knitting and not going off on a tangent. Yeah, so I can definitely wear this green, so I should probably will be doing a lot more green next from now on. But yeah, I would never have gone for these colours necessarily. I don't know what I would have chosen. Maybe I would have chosen this burgundy colour instead of the green. Because I like that colour. But anyway, yeah, I love it. Love it. I might have to take it off in a minute because it's quite warm. It's not as warm today as it has been, but it is kind of humidy, so I have to take it off in a minute. But so I made sure I had this in time for my Jersey trip because I knew I wanted to wear it there. But yeah, to Jersey, it was fantastic. So I managed to book a fantastic deal through Visit Jersey, which is like their tourist board website, and they do a lot of promotions on Visit Jersey to try and encourage people to visit the island. And so I managed to book this fantastic deal. We went to this amazing hotel, which was really, really posh and usually really, really expensive. But this deal, it included a meal at their Michelin star restaurant, which was a 7-course tasting menu. And it included all breakfast, including a cooked breakfast. So it wasn't just continental. It was, you could have eggs and bacon or eggs Benedict, or I had avocado on toast with poached eggs one morning. And then another night we had 3-course meal at their other restaurant. So they have the Michelin star restaurant, and then they just have like a bar restaurant, just like normal food. And then we also, on another day, got an afternoon tea, which was rather nice. So we ate fantastically. Like, I put so much weight on because I just continuously ate the whole holiday, and so we didn't really have to buy much food outside of the restaurant, which was quite nice. I'm just going to check that's still recording. Yes. I've had this stop on me before, so anyway. So we had this package for, I think it was 4 nights. So we flew on the Wednesday and we came back on the Sunday. So Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday, Saturday. Yeah, so 4 nights. All with breakfast and our fancy schmancy dinners as well. So all in all, it was a very good deal that we booked. Like, normally we wouldn't be able to afford to book at that hotel because it was very, very fancy. We kind of stuck out. But the thing about Jersey is everybody is fabulously wealthy there. So Jersey is part of the British Isles, but it is not part of the UK. So it flies a Union Jack, but it is separate to the UK. So they have their own government and their own parliament or whatever. So they make their own laws and rules and whatnot, but it is still under the British Isles. So it's like how the Falklands is. But it does mean that technically you don't need a passport if you're British to get there. But because we flew, we needed a passport. And I think even if we went by boat, they probably would have wanted to see a passport. We took our passports anyway. But so we flew on the Wednesday, and we flew from Exeter Airport to Jersey. And I have to say, Exeter Airport was amazing. Like, I've only ever flown from Heathrow or Gatwick or Stansted from the UK, and they're all quite big London-centric kind of airports. Like Heathrow, nightmare. Gatwick, slightly less of a nightmare, but still a nightmare. They're always busy. There's always huge queues. So yeah, I've never really flown from like a small airport before. And when we got to Exeter, it was absolutely tiny and there was nobody there. It was like empty and it was so nice. So I definitely recommend Exeter Airport because it was such a breeze. Going through security, you hardly had to queue. Like, you could always get a seat because there just weren't that many people there. And there weren't that many flights going from it. So you didn't have to queue for very long, which was quite exciting. Even though queuing for British is like a national sport. But anyway, one thing that I did spot there, which was amazing, was they have a special emotional support dog there. So if you're a nervous flyer, you can request Denzel, what do they call it? It's not as emotional support. I don't have my phone because I'm recording from my phone, but I'll put a link to Denzel because I now follow him on Instagram. But you can basically request him. I don't know how far in advance you have to do it because he wasn't there when I was there, unfortunately. Very sad about that. But yeah, you can request him and he comes and like sort of puts his head on your lap, or you can stroke him just to calm nervous flyers, which I think that's such a lovely idea. And yeah, I would have pretended I was a nervous flyer just so I could meet the dog, but now I know about it. Definitely be requesting him next time. So yeah, that was quite fun to see. But yeah, all the staff were really nice in Exeter Airport as well. And the most exciting thing ever, we went on a propeller plane, which I've never been on a propeller plane. Because I've always done like international flights, it's always been like 747s or like big planes like that. So it was really exciting to go on a propeller plane. My mum, who I went with, hadn't been, I don't think she's been abroad for about 10, maybe even 15 years. And she used to work for British Airways like back in the early 80s, late 70s, before she had my sister and I. So she has always loved flying because it's, reminds her of her youth and like exciting travels abroad. So we were both really, really excited by the flight. And the flight was amazing. It was only 35 minutes and it was spot on time, 35 minutes. It was so easy. Like, it's pretty much as soon as you get up to altitude, you're pretty much coming down again because it was that short flight. So that was quite exciting. It's a tiny propeller plane, so I'll put a little video of that because I was just so excited by it. And the day we flew out of Exeter was a really nice, bright, sunny day. So flying out, we got to see the English Channel, and we could even see like the shipping lanes. We could see ships. There were loads of them. Because we were at, I think it was 18,000 feet. So usually planes are at 32,000 feet. But obviously for sort of short flights like that, they must fly lower. And so we could see quite a lot, and saw sort of like the River Exe and the estuary where Exeter is, and I think it's Sidmouth and Tall Bay we could see as well. So flying out of Exeter, and then obviously when we came into land, I think we could just about see Guernsey, and then we came in to Jersey and could see over Jersey coming into the island, which was quite exciting. And the funny thing about our flight is that after it landed in Jersey, it then went on to Guernsey. So they do like an island hop. So there were people that had got on at Exeter that stayed on the plane when we got off at Jersey, and then they went on to Guernsey, which is exciting. So maybe I'll go to Guernsey next time, but I think Guernsey is a much smaller island and there's less going on there. But so we got off at Jersey, and again, another beautiful airport. It was beautifully clean and empty again. Even though I think Jersey airport's a much busier airport than Exeter, it was still like empty and didn't have to queue for anything. The bags came through from the aeroplane really quickly, which is unheard of at Heathrow or Gatwick. So all in all, it was a really pleasant journey. And then we had the afternoon, because I think we took the 10:45 flight from Exeter, got there about 15:15. So got out of the airport about 11:30. So by the time we got to the hotel to check in or drop our bags, we had like half a day to look around the island. So that first day we went down to we were staying in St Helier. We went down to the main like shopping street that's in St Helier, and had a little look around, and it was absolutely wonderful. Like, Jersey is so clean as an island, and I think it's because it is such a rich island. Like, you have to be a millionaire or billionaire to live there. It's so expensive, and there's like quite strict rules on buying property there. Like, you can't just waltz in and, well, actually you can just waltz in and buy a property if you're like mega rich, but like mere mortals, you have to have lived there for 10 years before you can then buy a property there. It's quite exclusive. And it's because Jersey is do I put this nicely? It's a tax haven. So companies, they register in Jersey and have their bases in Jersey because it's a tax haven, basically. Like, taxes are very, very low. So UK companies will register in Jersey so that they don't have to pay UK tax. But so it does mean one of their main sort of industries in Jersey is they have Jersey potatoes, which is a very big industry for them, as well as finance. So there was a huge financial district and lots of, people walking around in very smart clothes. But yeah, it does mean that everything's quite expensive in Jersey, even just food. And like one of our taxi drivers was saying that you can pretty much double what your grocery bill is in the UK to get what the Jersey prices are. And he said it's so expensive that Waitrose is the cheapest supermarket in Jersey. And when you're on mainland UK, Waitrose is a very exclusive supermarket. So like, I occasionally shop there if I want to get something nice, but it's not, you're not your everyday shop in the UK. But on Jersey, it's like the cheapest supermarket, so that's saying something. So yeah, if you want to go to Jersey, just warning you, it's expensive. But because we had most of our food included in our package, we didn't really have many costs of food when we were out and about. So yeah, that's something to bear in mind if you do want to go to Jersey, which I wholly recommend. Just bear in mind you need to save up or be fabulously wealthy. But back to properties there, yeah, they're so expensive. So one of the rules, if you want to get around having to live there for 10 years, you can buy a property there. But in the first 2 years of living there, you have to pay a tax that is £250,000 a year. And this has gone up from 125,000 it used to be. They've recently doubled it. And the kind of people it attracts is, my taxi driver was saying that he had a girl in the back of his taxi who said, oh, that's inconsequential to me, because her husband had earned 50 million the year before and had been taxed 20 million, so £250,000 was nothing to them. So that's the kind of people that live in Jersey. So to put it into perspective for you, so it is quite expensive to be there. But actually, having looked at the prices in like cafes and restaurants, it wasn't actually that different from like going to a restaurant in London, or even just like around and about these days. It's so expensive to eat out these days. So just something to bear in mind if you do want to go. It's quite expensive, so prepare yourself. You won't be bringing back much with you. But yeah, the first afternoon we just sort of walked around and got our bearings a bit, and we went into the most fantastic cashmere shop. Where did I put their business card? Hang on, I might use it to prop up my camera. And literally had it here a minute ago. What have I done with it? It's right in front of me. What is wrong with me? God. So we went to the most beautiful cashmere shop called OOoofff, and it was run by a husband and wife team. And the lady who was sort of the brains behind it was originally from Mongolia. And if you're a cashmere fan like I am, Mongolia is where the majority of cashmere is sort of farmed, the right way to say it, made, spun, I don't know. But it's where like really good cashmere comes from, because the climate in the Mongolian sort of mountains, it's very, very cold. So the cashmere goats grow like a coarser outer coat, but their belly fur is really, really soft and fluffy and warm to suit the conditions there. So they have particularly good cashmere from Mongolia. So this lady, she got married and is living in Jersey with her husband, but she saw like a gap in the market to bring quality cashmere goods over from her home country to Jersey, and so she started up this business, and they'd only had the shop since November, so it was very early days, but oh my goodness, were they amazing cashmere garments. Like, I'm a bit of a cashmere aficionado. I love it. Like, I used to only buy vintage cashmere because modern cashmere, I've never found a brand that has done quality that's as good as like cashmere from the 50s or 60s. So when I see good cashmere, I know it's good cashmere, and it was just so beautiful. I mean, there was this beautiful camel jacket that's a little bit like the jacket that I've worn on this podcast before. That's like a full length ribbed jacket, cardigan jacket thing that I have. But that's merino, and that's quite expensive. But this beautiful camel coloured cashmere jacket was £600, I think, and it was just so beautiful. So I'm saving up my pennies for that because I really want it. It was just so beautiful, and they were really lovely people that were running it. So by some weird coincidence, their kids went to the school in my town that I live in. So they went to Sherborne School, which is a very, very exclusive private school. So it was such a weird, like, sliding doors kind of moment, or like what's coincidence that we like knew where each other were from kind of thing. But they were just so charming, and they had these beautiful garments made from cashmere, as well as like some jewellery to go along with it. So I bought these beautiful little pearly earrings. Let me turn my head. So these are like a pink pearl, and I have a pink pearl necklace somewhere. Where did I put it? But that I wanted some earrings to go with, so I bought these. And these were, I think they were £35 at the most, which I thought was quite reasonable. So I got those, and we bought a cashmere jacket for my dad for his birthday. And they were just such lovely people that you just want them to do well and want them to get lots of customers. So definitely go on their website, have a little fit of vapors about the prices, and then buy something. And they also I wanted to buy one of these little cashmere combs, little goat on the back, and then their branding here. There they go. I wanted to buy it, and she said, "Oh no, have it," which I thought was really sweet. So I've got a little D pillar, which I need to do my long coat cardigan thing with this, because that's pilled too. Can't swear on YouTube. So yeah, that's, even though it's expensive, that merino jacket that I have, it's obviously like low quality because it pilled like hell on the first time I washed it. Anyway, if you are rich, then buy some cashmere because it's beautiful. But she did say that it's cheaper to buy it when you're on the island, because when you export it, you obviously get your country taxes. So if I buy something online, it will be slightly more expensive. But what's a few more pounds when it's £600? Anyway, yeah, they had some beautiful cashmere skirts that I really wanted one of those as well. But obviously I'm poor, so I couldn't buy them. But definitely on my wish list if I win the lottery, or if I save for a rainy day maybe, or if I find a fabulously wealthy husband that earns like 50 million a year. Where are these people? I do not move in those circles. But yes, so that was the first day. Then the second day, that must have been, oh yeah, that was when we went to the Jersey tunnels. So the Jersey War tunnels has been renamed from, I think it was like the German hospital tunnels or something. So in the war, Jersey was occupied by the Germans, so or rather the Nazis, and it was the only British territory that was ever captured by the Nazi Party. So they lived under occupation for 5 years of the war until liberation. And coincidentally, when we were over there, it was Liberation Day. So the following day, we went to Liberation Day, which I'll tell you about. But beforehand, we went to the tunnels to explore because it's a huge like tourist attraction there, and it looked like good fun. So they were used during the war by the Germans as a hospital tunnels. So obviously it was underground, so it was safe for them to like shelter and operate on people and whatnot. But they were built by slave labour. They did a breakdown of percentages of workers, because it wasn't just slave labour. It was slave labour, and then there were people who worked on it that were locals, and I think there were prisoners who worked on it as well. So, but yeah, there were 3 stages of people that worked on it. So like the worst treated were the slaves that were like Russian prisoners of war, and then the better treated were local people who wanted a job and they were actually paid for it. But it was renamed to the Jersey Wall Tunnels, and the exhibition that is there is much more focused on the islanders and their acts of resistance or collaboration in some cases during the occupation. So it was really interesting to find out about the stories of the people that lived there. And at the beginning, you're given an identity card. Actually, let's see if I can find it, because it was so cool. So this is my leaflet about the war tunnels. So Jersey Wall Tunnels is the only place in the island where you will experience the full story of the German occupation. So it's a little leaflet that shows a bit of the exhibitions. And then it kind of glossed over the whole, what the tunnels were used for. I feel it was very much like they're trying to give a more positive outlook on it rather than the bad side of it, which was the slave labour. They did mention it though, but it was much more focused on the locals and sort of the good side of the war, the heroism and the resilience of the islanders. But at the beginning, you're given these little identity cards with an islander and with their name and what they did, and what's it got on here? So mine was Mary Erica Richardson. She was born in 1888 in Amsterdam, and she was married with grey hair and blue eyes. For physical peculiarities, none. And then it's just her signature. So you can go around the exhibition and you can look for details on the person that is on your card. And this lady, I found out, she was actually Jewish. So she was hidden by a family during the war for, I think, 2 years. She was hidden in their house because she was Jewish, and she would have been rounded up and sent to a camp otherwise. So that was quite interesting to read about. But my mum's, she had a lady called like, it wasn't Alexandra, but it was Alex somebody other. It was a lady, and she was a collaborator, so she wasn't quite as heroic as our Jewish friend here, who was hidden by a good family who took her in and kept her fed and watered for all that time. But yeah, I thought that was an absolutely fantastic idea. So museums, if you're out there, that's a really good way to get people engaging with the exhibition. So yeah, do that more at exhibitions, please. But yeah, it was a really fantastic experience to go through the tunnels, and we had an audio tour because they don't do like speaky talkie talking tours. Is what I'm trying to say. I'm still tired, can you tell? So we had the audio tour, which I would absolutely recommend. It was £4 extra on top of the price of the ticket. So I think tickets were, if you buy them online beforehand, you get a slight discount. You get like 10% discount. So I think the tickets were £18 for an adult, and then £4 on top for the audio tour. But it was so worth it. You get so much more from someone telling you about it rather than having to stop and read every single sign. So I recommend doing the audio tour. And it was just so fascinating to read about all these people. And, you know, some people, I think there was 2 people who escaped from the island in a rowing boat. Some were captured, some were killed. And then there were other islanders that, like there was one lady, this was really sad. She slapped a German officer or German soldier because he was being lewd towards her. And she got sentenced to go to, I think it was like Birkenau or one of the death camps, and she was put in the gas chamber. It's like she just slapped him, like, because he was being inappropriate. So she died, which was quite sad, and she was only like 22 or, very, very young. So there were terrible stories of people that, went to prisoner camps for really inconsequential things, and eventually died from starvation or cholera or disease of some sort, So it was quite, it was a very poignant kind of exhibition that really made you kind of think about things, because it's very easy to put sort of rose-tinted glasses on and have a quite rosy view of nostalgia, shall we say, which is probably what attracts us to that era. It's that kind of nostalgic kind of comfort. But actually, it was a really, really tough time for the islanders, and they had very little food. So 90% of the food that they grew had to go to the Germans. So that only left 10% for the islanders. So they were effectively being starved out. And it was just by pure luck that the end of the war came and that they were okay, because otherwise they would have all slowly starved to death. But yeah, so it was a very poignant and sobering experience, but also an excellent exhibition at the time. The one bit that I didn't like, actually there were two bits I didn't like. There was an Anderson shelter, and they had like speakers in it, so it was like the sound of bombing, and that was really horrible. I had to run out of there because I was like, I don't like this. It was really loud. And then the second thing I didn't like is they had an unfinished tunnel that because it was all hand like chisels out of the rock, and there were often rock falls. Obviously they used slave labour, so like they would go in first and do all the dangerous stuff. So there were lots of deaths from rock falls, and they like simulated a rock fall, and like they had these cages on top, where the top of the tunnel was, and then they'd like play the sound and like have lights flashing. Oh, it was horrible. I had to run out of that room as well because I was like, I don't like it. Because when you're down in the tunnels, like it does feel really claustrophobic, and like you can't get out, even though there are like exit vents and things like that. Yeah, it was horrible, that bit. So just to warn you, but it did really give you like an insight into what it was like. So yeah, if you ever go to Jersey, definitely go to the war tunnels. It was such an incredible exhibition, and really well put on and thought out. So I definitely recommend it. And there was an Enigma machine there. So obviously I had to pose with my cardigan by the Enigma machine. And by this time, my mum, who was my photographer, was getting a bit annoyed. So the photos weren't the best, because she's like, oh, stop taking pictures. But yeah, it was a really enjoyable, if you can enjoy that kind of depressing kind of subject. It was a great exhibition, shall we put it that way. So I recommend. Then the second day was the Liberation Day celebrations. So it was 80 years on the 9th of May since the island was liberated from Nazi control. So every year on Liberation Day they have huge celebrations. It's a public holiday, so all the shops were closed and all the restaurants and things were closed for Liberation Day, and it was a big bank holiday for the island. And so everyone goes down to St Helier to Liberation Square, where the festivities took place and where they originally were liberated. So they came in the harbour, into the like harbour master's house or building, and they liberated that first and put up the British flag.
It's been too wonderful. I hope now for all your worries will soon be over, and this will never happen again. The Union flag is draped out of the one window as it was on this day at this time 80 years ago. And then on a makeshift flagpole at the time, now one that's now in place, the Jersey flag.
And took down the Nazi flags, and then they... Oh no. As my thing battery ran out of that. I think we're still recording. Okay, so we're still good, but I can't see what I'm doing. So if I put something up to the camera and it's not in the right place, I apologise. So yeah, they went from the harbour master's house, or what's it called, workplace, and then they went to the Palm Door Hotel, which was the hotel where all the sort of upper echelons of the Nazi party lived in that hotel, and took over that hotel when they invaded. So they then went to the hotel and put out a British flag on the balcony.
The balcony of the Palm Door Hotel, exactly as they did 80 years ago. That message went out from the Palm Door. The Union flag was hoisted, and that first real sign that Jersey was liberated.
And then finally they went up to the Fort Regis, I think it was called, and put up the British flag up there. So every year they reenact this.
Then overhead.
And they used school children as the soldiers, which was quite cute. So the main event was, we went down at about 10:30 in the morning, and there was a big parade to Liberation Square with lots of local. There was the bigwigs, like the bailiff of the island, who is I guess you could say, Prime Minister, I guess. And then all the dignitaries and things, they did a parade, and then there were the island Navy, RAF, Army, and then you had the cadets as well, which was hilarious watching them trying to march and trying to keep up. It was just so funny. And then there were local Girl Guides and Scouts and everything. So they did this lovely parade and had bands and things to Liberation Square, where they had a ceremony and a short church service to remember the fallen. And then after that, they had the reenactment going up to the harbour master's quarters, and then to the hotel and to the Port Regis, where they put all the flags out. And then at the end, they had a confetti cannon, which was amazing. It was so much fun, and they didn't just have a little bit of confetti. It was continuous for half an hour. It was so much fun. I still have confetti coming out of my handbag, so it caught so much confetti. But we had little Jersey flags. So this is the Jersey. I want to make sure that you can see it. It's this Jersey flag. So we were all waving our flags and having a lovely time. It was really good fun. And everyone was in a really good mood, and all the locals were chatting away to us and explaining about it. And it was just really lovely. So that was the second day that we were there. I think it was a Friday. And then for the rest of the day, we just, I think we just were so exhausted. We went back to the hotel, then had our 3-course meal. Oh, and the first night, I forgot to tell you, the Michelin star restaurant. It was amazing. Everyone thinks that Ponzi restaurants that have the teeny tiny portions that like you'll not feel very full after going there. But oh my goodness, like I was full by the third course, let alone the seventh. And so my mum and I just went back to the hotel room afterwards, so full. But it was absolutely amazing. And I had a glass of wine there as well, which was amazing because like those places have proper wine lists and you can get by the glass of really nice wines. So I had a gorgeous glass of Albarino, which is like one of my favourite wines. So that was really nice. And it was nice to experience that kind of thing because like I don't think I would necessarily book a restaurant like that normally if it wasn't included in the deal. So I'd want to because I like that kind of thing, but like I'm not in that price range, shall we say. So yeah, that was quite nice to experience, and the waiter was really sweet. But in the first like 2 seconds, I spilt food on the tablecloth, and it was really obvious as well that where it was, so I couldn't like hide it. So that was embarrassing. Literally can't take me out anywhere. But it was an amazing meal, and I'll pop up some photos so you can see just how amazing it was. Then on the third and sort of final day, we went to the zoo. So if you've ever watched the TV series The Durrells, it was based on Gerald Durrell, who was the little boy in that series, who absolutely loved animals. And when he grew up, he eventually moved to Jersey and started up this zoo. And his sort of ethos is more on the conservation side of things, which is a really refreshing side of zoos, I think, because sometimes zoos can feel a bit exploitative, like you have these creatures in very small contained areas for the whole of their lives, so it can feel a bit weird sometimes, zoos. But he has put a lot of energy and money into the conservation. So for example, we went to talk on the Alba something tortoises. What are they called? I'll put a correction up with what they're called. They're the really giant tortoises. We went to talk on that, and the keeper there, he goes out to Madagascar twice a year for conservation. So they've got like a breeding program over in Madagascar where they breed and make sure that the environment that the tortoises are in are maintained, basically. So that was really interesting, and they've only recently got the correct conditions for these tortoises in the zoo. So the room that the tortoises are in, it was really humid and really hot, and that's because where they're originally from, the island of Alba, whatever it's called, it's like incredibly hot during the day. It's like, I think he was saying it could go up to like 50 degrees Celsius, which is unheard of. But that's the environment that they thrive in. And so they need to be under very specific conditions, and it's a specific type of light that they need. So they had like lamp heaters there that were usually used for like reptiles and things like that, but it was the wrong kind of UV, or it's the wrong wavelength. So, but now they have the right wavelength, which I can't remember which one it was. The right lights and the right heat. They're thriving a lot more, and it penetrates the shell and gets into the body of the turtles because it's or tortoises, because they're cold-blooded animals. They need that warmth. So the light that they now have can penetrate and get really down into their blood, so it keeps them nice and warm. And before that, they'd never bred from them. And they've been there like, God knows how many years, like 50, 60 years. And they'd never had any of their tortoises, lay eggs. But since having these new lights and new heat lamps and the right conditions, last year their tortoise, they are different, aren't they? Turtles and tortoises. Anyway, the tortoise for the first time had laid some eggs, and they could tell that they had been fertilised, but they were all like misshapen and manky and horrible. So they think this year, or is it maybe next year, if she lays eggs again, they might get some baby tortoises from it. So watch this space. But it just goes to show that like even the experts in zoos didn't know that it's only been in the last 5 years or so that they've learned that actually it's this certain type of heat and humidity that they need in order to survive, or thrive rather. And that's why they are so prolific on islands like Madagascar and this Alba, whatever it is, island, is because it's got those perfect conditions for them. Like nothing else can survive, but the tortoises can. So that was really interesting to find out. So it was just lovely to see zookeepers so passionate about, and generally zookeepers do tend to be passionate about the animals that they look after, and they do certainly grow quite attached to them. But it was just nice that they had that sort of caring and conservative conservation side of the zoo as well, which was really important to Gerald Durrell. So he's dead now, so he died in 2005, I think. But obviously his legacy has lived on to mean that he would make sure that in the future all these species are conserved and looked after in the wild, not just in the zoo. So a lot of the money raised in the zoo goes into those communities worldwide to conserve animals, which is quite nice.
He noted that when birds, predominantly finches, would hover onto the shells of the tortoises, hop around their legs, the tortoises would stand up in this sort of response. And that would allow the finches access to any of these sort of nooks and crannies, these skin folds that are sort of stretched out, and the birds would then pick off dead bits of skin and any exterior parasites on that can be.
We honestly didn't see that many animals because they like to hide, don't they? I did see the aardvarks, which was so cute, but they're nocturnal, so they were fast asleep. So this aardvark was like flat on its back. It was so cute. And it was like snuggled up with its partner, which was sweet. We did try to go and see the sloths because sloth had a baby sloth this year, but they were asleep and in a bit that you couldn't see them. So yeah, we couldn't see the sloths. What else couldn't we see? Oh, the gorillas. We didn't really see those too well because the big silverback gorilla had his back turned to us and wouldn't turn around, annoyingly. And then we did see some other ones, some smaller ones, that were obviously the females and the baby ones, but not like baby ones, but younger ones. But they weren't, like, they were hidden. Like, I didn't get too many. Didn't get too many good pictures of them. And what else did we see? Oh, we saw some flamingos. We saw some cranes, which were beautiful, and one was doing a little dance for us, which I'll put up. So he was quite beautiful to talk to, and he seemed to like us because he was dancing for us. What else did we see? Oh, meerkats, but they ran away when we got near to them. So all the animals were hiding from us, but we had a nice day anyway. And again, all the staff were lovely. That was quite nice. And we saw orangutans. Yeah, they were cute. One was hiding under a blanket. So that was our last day. And then we came home. On the Sunday, came home. Again, really easy flight. No queuing. Just straight through the security and customs queues and everything. And then we were back home. So we had a thoroughly enjoyable time, and definitely Liberation Day was the highlight because it was just so special. And being, a big milestone, 80 years, I think there were a few people that were there that had lived on the island at the time or were veterans, but obviously they're few and far between now because they'd be best part of 100 years old. The veterans anyway. But some of the people there had been kids on the island and could remember occupation. So it was a really special day, and one that we'll remember, and it was good fun. And confetti cannon! I really want one now because it was so much fun. But I didn't get much knitting done in Jersey because we were so exhausted from all our travelling around. But I do have a couple of new projects that I have been working on. So once I finished this, I needed like a palette cleanser. I've still got my Susan Crawford colourwork knitting to go. But I just needed something easy to do that I didn't have to think about, because it's quite an undertaking to do something as big as this. So the first thing that I have cast on, and is going really, really quickly because it's in such beautiful chunky wool. So I bought this yarn from Bath when I went with my American friend. So this is the Rowan, I can't remember what it's called. I'll pop it in the description box if I can find the label for it. It's like a nice chunky yarn. And I am knitting the Helen pattern from A Stitch in Time 2 by Susan Crawford. So I've got this far, which is quite fun, isn't it? Because it's just a really simple lacy pattern and nice chunky yarn and big needles. So these are 8mm needles, and it's going really quickly. So technically I should be using a fingering weight yarn for this project, but I cheated and used a chunky yarn to make it go quicker, basically. But I used exactly the same needles that she's recommended for the fingering yarn. I think I did slightly less stitches in the cuff, just so they weren't too big, the cuffs. But I think the cuffs are on 2.75mm, and then you go up to the 8mm for the main sort of body of it. But I just think it's so cool. So it will eventually be like, come around the back and onto the other arm, and like it's not finished yet, but it's basically double this, and then it goes into the other cuff on the other side, and it's just a nice little cover up, and it's just a really quick and simple pattern to do, and I'm really enjoying it because it's mindless kind of knitting in front of the telly. I kind of have to pay attention to the lace pattern a little bit, but I've kind of got it down now, so I can just like watch telly and knit along. But I just love it, and I love this yarn. It's so soft. I mean, it's a bit of a nightmare because it fluffs everywhere. Like if you're wearing black trousers or something, you will get this on it. So something to bear in mind if you do use this yarn. But because it's chunky, it's going really quickly. And I have used this on my second ball now. So I bought 5 balls. I don't think I'm going to use all of them, to be honest. I might only use like 3 for the entire thing. So I could make a matching pair of socks, maybe some bed socks. That'd be really nice, wouldn't it? Like chunky socks, or a little beret or something, a woolly hat to go with it for my dog walks, maybe. That would be quite nice. So that has been going really nice and quickly. And then the second thing that I cast on, because apparently I'm that person now that has multiple projects on the go. I've signed up for another knit along. I've just finished this knit along. And I'm now doing a knit along with the shop in Bath called A Yarn Story. They're doing like I think it's called a midsummer knit along. And I've watched their knitalogs before, and they're really interesting. The lady that runs it, Carmen, she's an American lady. She's really good at pulling like patterns and colours together. So I've always struggled with like what to do with variegated yarns. She did a knit along with a flower pattern that she did, like the background was like a solid colour, and then she did the flowers in this variegated yarn, and it was just so genius. It really showed off the colours of the variegated yarn and didn't make it look like homemade, if that makes sense. It looked really classy. So I decided to do her summer knit along, and I am doing she gives you like I think about 5 or 6 different patterns you can choose from to knit, and I'm doing the Sailor Swift top, which I'll put a picture up, which is just a really simple little tank top with a racer back and with like sailor stripes, and like it's just such a classic design. It's very sort of 1930s to me, like a 1930s little top. This is going great guns as well. It's really quick to do, and it's a really interesting construction. So you start off up here at the back and do the back cast on, then you knit down and put it onto holding yarn. So you knit down, you do the underarm shaping, then you put it on holding yarn, then you pick up the stitches at the shoulders, so 10 stitches here and 10 stitches here, and you work each front section separately and doing the front neck shaping. Then you join by casting on stitches across the front centre. So you're now working in one piece, and you do the underarm shaping to match the back. And then when you get to the final stitch count, you then join into the round and then do the body. So that is the top, and it's going really quickly. It's just, I find stripes really therapeutic because it kind of wills you on to the next stripe and the next, and then the next and the next. So it's really quick to knit up, and it spurs you on, which when you're doing just a stocking stitch can get quite boring. So that's quite nice to sort of spur you on a little bit. But yeah, it's really nice pattern, and I love anything that's like a different construction. Then I think to finish it off, you do like an I cord around the neck and the arms. So yeah, I think I'm 1 week in now, and this is how far I've got. It's pretty impressive. Although I did start it and I misread the pattern and somehow did too many white rows, so I had to rip it back. And I think I got done about that much, and so I had to rip it all back and start again. But it didn't take too long to catch up again, and I'm really enjoying it. So if you want a little summer sailor top, I recommend this. So I am a 34-inch bust, and there is quite a lot of negative ease in this. So I'm knitting the size small, which should come out 32-inch bust. So with the ease, it will stretch over. So yeah, it's quite a tight fit. If that's not your thing, then it's just something to bear in mind. But I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, I'm really enjoying that one. And I'm using Knitting for Olive 100% silk. So I used this yarn for a summer top last summer, and I love the yarn because it's really nice and cool when you're wearing it because it's silk. So it's going to keep me nice and cool in the summer. What I don't like about the yarn is it's quite a grippy yarn, but so it gets in a tangle really, really easily, and so I've had to untangle so many knots, and like I've had to put onto a separate thing because it slips off. Like it's not very tightly wound, so these can all slip off, and so you get like a big yarn bath that then tangles into infinity. So it's been really, really annoying me, but I do love this yarn. It just annoys the heck out of me. So if you do buy Knitting for Olive 100% silk, make sure you cake it up into a cake, because it will make your life a lot easier. If you keep it on the ball like this, it will drive you insane, quite literally. And you do, for this, because it's a thinner yarn, I've had to use it double to get the weight, the that the pattern requires. So hence having 2 strings, and then it gets even more of a tangle. So I had, for this colour, I'd been pulling from the middle and pulling from the outside. Again, the outside had been slipping off and tangling into infinity, and then the middle has got, like, a couple of times it's got quite sort of tangled in the middle. So I've had to pull out great big yarn bath and detangle that. So it's been driving me nuts. And the white ones, I've been doing 2 separate balls held together, so that's slightly easier, but it still has a few times got tangled up. So you can see, like, every time I put it down, it tangles into infinity again. It's so irritating. Beautiful yarn, but really annoying. So bear that in mind. And actually, I love it so much, I've just ordered like a magenta-y kind of dark pink of this colour, which if I have any yarn left over, I'll make another one with pink stripes. Because I was going to use the pink stripes, but I thought I've got so many pink knits or pink yarns that I'll go for something different, go for a classic navy. And this is Blue Tit, this blue, which is a beautiful blue. It's not quite a navy, it's brighter than that, but yeah, I really like that. And then just a cream to go with it. So it's not like a stark white, it's a bit creamier, which is quite nice. So that is that knit. And I think that's all I've been up to, really. Oh, one more thing that I was going to show you. So 2 more things, actually. So I found my yarn that I dyed at Susan Crawford. So I did remember what I was going to make with this, and I did want to make an emotional support chicken with this. But someone pointed out to me that the emotional support chickens are made from worsted weight, and this is fingering yarn. So I don't think if I hold it double rather than triple, I don't think I'm going to have enough to make an emotional support chicken from it. So I can either make a really small chicken, keeping the stitch count, but it will just come out smaller, or choose another project. So I might just choose another project. Not quite sure what to do with it, but these are the colours that I managed to get. So you can see some of the little bright pops. Like this bright green bit here would have been a sprinkle, the yellow sprinkle, that then turned green. Got a few yellows in there occasionally, but yeah. So that was my yarn. And then this I have been forgetting to show you for months. I think I got this back in like January, but I found in a charity shop some silk yarn, 2 kilos of it, so quite a lot. It is raw silk. Oh, these are all, yes, this is the problem. Some of them are like not as oh, baby woolen rayon. See, this is what, like, they told me it was silk, that this is silk. You look at the luster on that, look at it, so beautiful. This is like smooth as smooth can be. So yeah, I'm gonna have to detangle that. But like, say, oh, that's silk. This is slightly thinner, so there's different thicknesses. Maybe that's not silk. This is definitely silk. It feels dry. This is like beautifully, like almost lace weight. I did have some hanks. Jiggled it though. This is like a surprise. What's going to be in the next one? So this is more like what I had in the other one that I opened. So these are hanks of pure silk, and it's got the little silk label on it, which tells you number, size, and price, and quality. I don't know what any of this means, but I did look into this company, the Leek Spun Silk Company Limited, and it is a company based in Leek, which is in the north of England, which I believe is Yorkshire. And they were in Leek, they were particularly known for their silk production. So that's about all I could find out. There were lots of silk factories in Leek. I couldn't find too much about this particular company. other than it was in leek. But yeah, so if anybody knows anything about the silk industry in leek, let me know, because I'd love to find out more about it. But I showed Susan this, and she seems to think that this weight of yarn is like her fenella, which is like the old-fashioned 3-ply. So this will be really nice to maybe make a vintage sweater out of. And because it's in its raw state, and I just happen to know someone who dyes yarn, I might be able to get some yarn dyed in beautiful colours and make a beautiful sweater out of it. But I don't know what I'm going to use it for yet. I just bought it literally because I was so excited. So that's the silk ones. But look, this is in there as well. This is Sirdar Baby Wool and Rail, shade number white. This is weird. It's got like a yarn around, the rayon is like wound around the wool. Well, that's quite nice actually. And it looks like I've got, do I only have one hank of that? Maybe it's in here. Oh, another surprise bundle. Oh yeah, this is another one of these. So yeah, I am yet to unwrap all of them, so I might have more. Who knows? It's very exciting. When you don't know what you're getting, but it's all like vintage yarns, which obviously right up my street. So that was a package I got from a charity shop. It was Oxfam, what to say. But yeah, it's always exciting getting, because I see people knitting on Instagram sweaters and cardigans and things in vintage yarn. Where do they get this stuff from? Because I've never found any, but now I have, and in its raw state, so I can dye it, which is exciting. But I think that is all for now. So this is May's video. So first week of June, I am going to the Cold Harbour. I think it's the Great British Fibre Festival, I think they call it, which I went to last year, which was a really good day out. So I'll do a little bit of filming there to show you all what it's like. Other than that, I hope you have a really good May and June, and I will see you soon.